are live to the world, George.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to your... Yeah, it's Friday. Sorry. Friday with the Arsenal Fans Forever Women's Review Show. It's actually going to have a show with me and Dan for once. Like, we have been trying to avoid each other, but we thought we'll do a show for you guys. So, Dan, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good, thanks, George. I'm all good, thank you. Good to see you again.
You too, mate. Well, can't see you, but we've got our superstar back, Daisy. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, a lot better than I was. I was a lot of I think I had a hangover plus sinus problems. So that's what I'm saying anyway. We don't need Gary Neville. We don't need Jamie Carragher. And how you doing, mate?
I'm still not sure if that's a compliment you're sending my way, but I'll take it. I take it's an intended compliment. So yeah, hiya George, I'm good. Welcome everyone, you fabulous people. Good to see everyone.
We only have the best for the best podcasts, mate. If you know what I mean.
Oh, stop it!
He never says that to me, Andrew.
But we couldn't get them. So. Chantel, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, finally recovered from the 3-day bender from celebrations last weekend. Feeling myself again.
Yeah, it was your 21st, wasn't it?
Oh, I wish.
So yeah, and we will have.
Farah's with us, sorry.
Do have someone able to call friend. Farah, how are you?
I'm really good, mate. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Caught all of your shows. Really enjoyed it.
Sorry about that.
No, it's really good. No, I'm happy to be here.
Good. Cool. So yeah, thanks to everyone who's going to start watching. We're going to go on to the Leicester game because I can't believe that's only a few days ago. That seems longer. So we'll start with what the lineup was. Dan, you're my eyes here. So what was the lineup?
That's where you put me on the spot to remember, isn't it? So we started with obviously Zins in goal, Fox. We had Leah and we had Steph, and then Katie played at left back. Vicky and Kim in centre mid, with Steph, Caitlin, who was playing on the left but in a bit of a freer role, Jonas said, with Alessia and Stina up front.
Oh, right.
Where's George going?
Someone's turned the lights out.
Yeah.
Have you paid your bills, George?
George's bills gone out.
You spent it all on beer on Saturday.
He's crashed.
Sunday.
Well, I think. Is he back? No, we lost George for a minute. Well, George was going to ask. I'll start with you, Andrew. I mean, what did you think of the performance on Sunday?
Terrific.
The selection and the performance.
Well, yeah. I mean, funny enough, Tim kind of reminded us that Steph Catley could play at centre back. That was a bit of a surprise, but that needs must. I thought Steph Catley was superb. Especially her assist on that second goal. It was kind of like the perfect assist. Tough tackling, wins the ball, beats one player. Bisects the defense and lays it up for a great finish. So, I thought Steph was brilliant. Manu was great, wasn't she, George? And I think it just felt a really solid performance. And I know it's interesting because we didn't score our second goal till about the 75th minute, but I didn't feel worried. It felt, all of a sudden we've got and like I said, even though we were missing lots of, I think the introduction of Emily settling in and Leah's back to her best, Katie playing her kind of normal, and that defense just feels really solid. And they did have a few good shots, and Manu, again, sorry George, had some great saves, but I never felt worried. Terrific performance actually.
Cool. I am back. I'm really sorry. Someone called as soon as I asked the question, so that was a bit annoying. We'll address the goalkeeper in the room because Andrew keeps mentioning it. Yeah, I thought Manu done really, really well. I've always been a fan.
outrageous.
That'll get a few clicks, isn't it? So that's fine. No, right. Like, I'll hold my hands up. She's always frustrated me. She's always reminded me a bit like Ramsdale. Make some amazing saves, but then some silly mistakes. But got to give credit where it's due. And I think I've actually, for once, I've actually done some like homework on the show. I've actually been listening back to previous games this season about Manu, because I knew that Andrew was going to go there, because I know what he's like. And I was like, you know what? She's really, really improved. I was wrong. But don't clip that, Dan.
So I've just wrote down the time just so we know for future reference.
I'm in tears here. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
George was wrong.
give her
Are you
another.
listening to Emma Hayes' poetry, George? Is this sort of my new bit of...
Roses, reds, and violets are blue. We are singing because we love Manu. There you go.
Oh,
Wow.
mate.
Um,
Beep.
I'll move on to you. We'll listen to someone who can talk a bit of sense now. Farah, what did you think about the lineup and the game?
Yeah, I thought it was a very it was a solid performance. I'm always quite happy when I see Stina and Russo starting and playing in the same team. I'm a big fan of Russo in the number 10. I think we get the best out of her when she's holding up play, and you know, she's so great in finding little spaces for herself, and yeah, she just comes alive at the Emirates. So yeah, to get her on the score sheet, to get her scoring consistently, I think it's been a real positive for Arsenal this season. And yeah, Steph, like Andrew said, I thought Steph was amazing. I think Steph is always a bit underrated. She goes kind of under the radar for us, but she's just solid, consistent, you know, makes up so much ground. Probably one of the most underrated players, like globally, I would say. I think maybe because she's a fullback, she just doesn't get enough recognition. But yeah, I thought it was solid. It was a really good performance and a great way to end the last game at the Emirates.
Yeah, I agree. I was really impressed with Steph. To be fair, I've seen some people comment on, and I feel like she gets being made really critical a lot easier and quicker than some other players that play quite a bit more than they should do. So it was nice to see her having a good game. Quick, I'll move on to Daisy afterwards. But do you think Stina's staying, Farah?
I think so. Yeah, I think she is. I'm going to manifest it. But yeah, I think we'll keep her for another year, I think.
Yeah. Let's hope you're right.
Yeah.
Chantel's dropped out, Jill. Sorry, Farah. Chantel's just dropped out for the minute as well.
Oh,
well, she's back. She's back just as I say that.
It's like a magic roundabout today. So yeah, Daisy. Obviously, we Dan read out the lineup. Was there anyone there in the lineup that you thought you was a bit surprised about?
Oh, surprised about? No, I thought, well, obviously, I didn't expect Lotta to not be in the starting 11. That was the only one that surprised me, really. I'm trying to think of people that I love going last because I always have to try and think of something that someone hasn't said. You didn't mention Mead, did you? And she was in the lineup, and she's back on the score sheet again. I'm loving that she's back to her best, and also I've been raving all week about Emily Fox because I think what a signing she has been for us. I think she did get player of the match, didn't she, when it was announced at the Emirates? I just think what a signing she has been, and how young she is. I hope she just stays with us for a long time and continues at her best. It is just that thing that's on my mind of, obviously, with Steph, Katie and Emily all performing so well. It's like who and obviously our centre backs as well. Who's going to be the one that doesn't make it in the starting 11? At times, obviously they'll probably rotate, but I think they all should be starting. In my head, they all should be starting because they're all so good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Who, if you had to, I'm going to put you even more on the spot now.
Oh God!
If if all three were fit and in form, who plays at right back, plays at left back?
For me, based on the performance recently, I would say Emily Fox plays at right back, and I would love to keep Steph in that left back position. And I feel like dropping Katie McCabe as one of the the best players is crazy. But right now, on the form that they're on, I don't see how you could just go into that next game and not play Steph if Lotta is back fully fit. And I'd even be happy to see her at centre back if Lotta wasn't. So I would say that would be what I would choose, really.
Yeah, I get that as well. But if you got McKay bench, that's some serious options as well. So, what did you think of the game, Chantel? It was since your birthday? You got your birthday win. So.
I did. I was quite happy that I was celebrating a win on it, so that was always a positive. But I feel like going in, everyone just kind of knew what they were supposed to do, how they were supposed to hold their role, and what to expect from the game. And it obviously shows with some of the great link-ups and how the back line held their line and they communicated. I thought they did it really well. And I think, like last week, obviously, Tim did comment on Zinsberger and about how she is a good goalkeeper. And I think, like, maybe we need Tim to do some more comments about her because it seems to give her good luck. And she just played a good game.
Yeah, I just think Manu the podcast personally, but yeah, the more people like we can have on, the better. I don't mind with that. I'm going to talk to you, Dan, about the atmosphere because it's been mentioned about the Leicester game. My opinion on it is I think some Arsenal fans have got a bit spoiled. Was where we sell out most places. When they don't cancel it. But it's like obviously Chelsea game, the Man United game. They've been sell out. They've been really loud. But Leicester, it was just a dead rubber, wasn't it? Like there wasn't anything on it. I still think they've done really, really well. I don't know.
Yeah, to get a 40,000 crowd for Leicester, I mean, if you said that a couple of seasons ago, that we'd get that much for Leicester at home, nobody would have believed you. But yeah, it was a strange atmosphere. But like you say, Joe, it was a dead rubber game. Obviously, with the Chelsea game and the Man United game, the Tottenham game, there was importance on there. I think even probably right at the start of the season, the Liverpool and Villa game was better atmosphere. But I think the crowd was a bit like the team. When the team had a sort of 10-15 minute spell of sort of blasting Leicester a bit, the crowd got going and then it went a bit flat again. So it was really up and down with the atmosphere. I know it's probably obviously something Arsenal sort of trying to work on just to try and keep singing sections or one section all around the ground or little pockets all around the ground. But fair play to say to everybody and everyone that was there on Sunday. So, 40,000 is fantastic. So, yeah, hats off to Arsenal for that.
Do we have any comments, mate?
But a few evenings from Emerson, Craig and Daisy, but nothing, no questions in the chat at the moment.
I'm going to come to you, Farah, about the atmosphere on Sunday. I think like with the work what the supporters club have been doing as well, with even having 40,000 is a really big effort for me. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I'm sure Tim put on Twitter something along the lines that he played Chelsea and we only had 5,000. Was it? I think it was like on this day, like so many years ago. I think when you compare the two, 5,000 to 40,000, it's a massive difference, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously this year in particular, we're working with the club in a way that we probably haven't, before. We've got a system in place with our tickets, home grounds. That was all sort of sorted with the atmosphere block before the season started. But away games as well. We've got a good system in place, and we've worked on it. It's been a few trial and errors, but we've got something good there. But yeah, a massive difference from sort of 5,000 to 42,000 with no real push. Like you said, not a big game. Playing less. No disrespect to Leicester, but there wasn't. That game didn't really mean much. So to do that, I think it's I think we've realised we've made it sustainable. I don't think the crowds are going anywhere. People want to come back. The atmosphere probably wasn't what we're used to. But the great thing was when Block 2 probably weren't as loud, to see the blocks opposite us, putting their scarves in the air, and just we hadn't really seen that before, and I could just see a sea of scarves just in front of me, and that was great to see, because that's always been the main goal. We're always going to have an atmosphere block, but the main goal was to make sure we get the entire Emirates joining in when the atmosphere block isn't as loud, or we take a break, or we don't want it just coming from there. So I think there's a lot to be proud of, and we haven't even really started yet. I think it's the first season where we've had a chance at the Emirates, 6 games, and I think it's been a real success. So hopefully we'll get a few more games there next year.
I did think that the North London Forever at the start was probably the best it had been.
Yeah.
All the Emirates grounds, so with all the scarves, it looked fantastic. So when you sort of see some of the pictures a few days after, it was great.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think what people forget as well, is that, okay, it was 40. People might say it wasn't as loud as it has been at other games, but there's been in the men's game when Arsenal have played teams. I'll just put it out there, when Arsenal play teams like Luton, I don't see them much of a difference in the crowds and the sounds with that. What do you think with that?
Are we coming to me?
Yeah, you.
Sorry. It cuts off every time you say the name. It cuts off. That's definitely on purpose. I completely agree. I think I mentioned last week about being stuck all alone in Block 3, trying to carry the atmosphere across. But I definitely agree. Like the moments, like when you get your scarves up, or when like in certain chants and like before the game, those moments are so important, because you might not know, or like there might be people who don't know all the chants, or they know some chants, but just getting that growth across the whole stadium is so important. And if you feel like you can get involved more, I think some people mentioned on Facebook and things like that, they just feel like they're the only ones in their block that are singing and standing up, and we have to try and change that so that they feel like they can get involved no matter where they are. And I feel like we really saw that, despite having less people there than the other games. I really felt that I could get involved more, even though I'm not in the atmosphere block. So that's just I think that's just really important. It's just little steps, isn't it? And then we'll get there. We're not in any hurry, and I think complaining about it, you don't really need to at this point. We're going in the right direction, is how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. Andrew, I'll come to you before we move on. I think that shows the level and how far we've come, that people are complaining that a 40,000 game is quiet, isn't it?
Yeah. To be fair, I think in many ways it's probably our most important fixture in that sense, because as Farah was saying, there wasn't a great deal riding on the game. No disrespect, but it was Leicester. And to sell, and I think that's almost that is more important than some of the sellouts, because that's, and you say, as Farah said, with very little push from the Arsenal either, and so that's almost our baseline now, I think. So, whilst it was quiet, I think that's a good point that Farah made again about the visuals, though. Like at the beginning of North London Forever, the scarves came out, and I'm not even sure everybody knows what's going on, but when the atmosphere block is doing the ole ole and the whole stadium isn't singing, but the scarves come up, and that's really I just, because I had bizarrely ended up in the clock end right next to the Leicester fans, and it was really quiet. But that, when the atmosphere block started doing ole ole, all the scarves came out, but everyone around me was really quiet, but still doing it. So it's just interesting. There's a little quirk that we've got going on there. So, but yeah, I think it was, as a benchmark, that's probably our most important game in that sense from a fan's point of view. I did like Daisy's. I don't know how much you were joking last week, Daisy, when you said maybe a second atmosphere block in 3, because obviously block 2's full. And rocking, and there's those people saying, I would always go into the atmosphere block. I always would. So I don't know, but equally, absolutely great job by the supporters club, Farah. I think it's been amazing, and it's been a huge part of the success. Obviously, Arsenal have done their thing, but I think the supporters club have done a terrific job, and you should feel really proud of what you've done and what you've achieved. I think it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. No, I am. It's a massive team effort. We've got a great team, and yeah, I think supporters club over the years have always sort of led the way with Arsenal, and we were quite lucky to come into a situation where things were growing with the red and white last year, and it gave us a bit of a foundation to build on. So yeah, a lot of people are reliable for it. But yeah, no, I think it's been a great year, and a second block for the atmosphere maybe could happen. I don't know. It's definitely worth a conversation.
Yeah. I also think okay having another block, but the more we spread what we're trying to do as well, it will just become organically as well. So we could be having, like, if you actually look at the men's games, not every block sings there either. There's designated ones there. So I think we're doing the right thing. A second atmosphere block could work. So yeah, what do you think about that, Chantel?
Yeah, me and Daisy kind of discussed it after the game about how she was in block 3 and I was in block 18, and we just felt like we were the only ones singing. And sometimes you don't care and you just sing and you hope people will join in, but then when it's by yourself every chant, it kind of gets like, oh, am I doing this to keep myself going, or am I just gonna like die down into the quietness? So if anybody does want to sing along, join me and Daisy in either block 3 or block 18 in the future. We will welcome any singers.
It's by the time that the chant travels from block 2 to 3 and I realise what you're singing, that the chant is over. That's the main thing. I'm thinking, oh, what are we singing? And then it gets to me and I'm joining in, and then I'm sitting down again because it's finished. So I think we'd have to really, get us spread out across this one side rather than spread out of loads of different sections across. I think it'd have to be just within one area, but maybe a little bit more, if that makes sense, that we can get more people that want to sing and want to sit in that section to be able to.
You'll regret that. We'll send Lewis.
Oh God! Wait.
But no, is there any comments?
We say hello to Sam, who said, yeah, like a big moment last week was everyone waving their scarves to the LA. We have another comment, but it's about maybe we'll mention that later because it's about who should play in goal for the rest of the season, but maybe that's something we might discuss towards the end of the show.
Rest of the season, we've only got 3 games, haven't we?
We have only got 3 games, yeah. Williams, I think.
Yeah, why not?
Is it Naomi Williams?
Yeah, why not?
Good job, we've got a programme in front of me. Yeah, Naomi Williams, why not?
Fair play.
So I'll quickly go round. So who was your player of the match, Chantel?
I'm trying to think now. I definitely think Mead, she just seemed to be in the right places with the 2 goals. She was on form, and yeah, I just think overall she did good.
Yeah, I do definitely think someone at Arsenal watches the podcast, because I remember saying on one the other week that Mead needed to score more, and she ain't stopped scoring. And I said Ginsberger, and she's been playing well. So I don't know. I'll think of someone for the Everton game to talk about. Farah, who was your player of the match?
I'd have to give it to Steph Catley. I thought she had a brilliant game. Yeah, she was solid at the back. I was a bit worried when I saw the starting lineup, but I thought she was ace. So yeah, very close between her and Emily Fox, but I think Steph, just playing not in her natural position, would just take it for me.
Andrew?
I think I'd go with the actual player of the match. So I thought Emily Fox, yeah, like I say, solid at the back. Going up against Rantalar as well. But I think for me the big revelation for her, and I think it was her able to cut inside and had some cracking shots. Which I didn't know she had that in the locker, but that was something I think she had 3 or 4 actually in the end, and that helped. That sort of, and her and Beth Mead are starting to get a really good relationship going. So, and that's just another string to our bow now. We've got a fullback taking shots, on her weaker foot. I thought Emily Fox was superb.
Daisy?
Oh, I'm going with Andrew there. Everything that you said was in my head. I think Emily Fox is definitely, but I would say it was very close with Steph Catley. I definitely think that Emily Fox has enabled Beth Mead maybe to play it like infield a little bit more. We know she was typically and is really, really good in the box, and she's been in the right place at the right time a lot more than she used to be. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I do think that's because Fox is playing so like high up on that right hand side, and I definitely think there's a goal in Emily Fox before the end of the season. I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but she keeps lining one up and it's getting closer, and she forced a really good save from the goalkeeper. So I definitely would love to see an Emily Fox goal, please, before the end of the season.
Yeah, it'd be definitely a Fox in the box. I was really hoping that Dan wouldn't nick that, because that's the sort of thing he would say.
She'll score more goals than Frances Jeffers, Jules, that's for sure.
Young for that, mate.
That's a blast from the past. Wow.
So Dan, who would you say was your?
I'm going to say, I mean, for me, and I have to say for Mel as well, because I know Mel would say it. I thought Kim was great. I think she had high or mid-90s again, pass completion. She just is everywhere, and you guys said it last week. She's like a fine wine, isn't she? Just every game, she just turns up and does what she needs to. It's more of a shock when she has a bad game, or does like she misses a penalty or something. It's just it's the shock that Kim's actually misplaced a pass or done something not quite right. I thought again she loves that pitch for that extra bit of space and controls the game. Her and Vicky are so good in dominating the midfield. It's Kim for me, I would say.
Cool. People in the chat, put your player of the match, and when we'll read them out when we come back to it. So we'll move on to the Everton game. Oh dear. So we'll talk about the football first. We've got. Is it Sunday 12:30?
Yeah. BBC.
I'll start with you, Andrew. Are you confident?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to say that, I think their best player is probably Kathy Cool, which kind of says it all. I mean, to be fair to them, I felt so sorry for Brian Sorrison. I think he's a great coach, actually. And he's just been given an extension. But he comes out of this press conference and he's got this long list of it, and he's reading off his injuries, and it's like, oh my gosh. So, if any of you guys are going, take your boots. You might get a game, and you better swap shirts with the Arsenal players at the end. I think. I mean, I'm quite very confident. Like I say, I suppose it'd be interesting to see how Kathy. I'm assuming that Kathy's going to play. They'll let her play. But I think she'll be up for it, because obviously she's kind of almost playing for her place. In that game. So. Very, very confident.
Is she allowed to play?
I think
she is, is she?
No, I think in the Twitter release of all the people that were injured, or Benison who's sick and someone else who's in doubt, I think they put Cool down as it's her parent and partner club that she's playing.
That's a shame.
Obviously, I understand with the when we played Watford, a couple of them was played. And that goes down because of their age, but I didn't think Paul could play. But it's a shame. It's a shame. That's a debate for another show, because I've never been one to say that players who are being loaned shouldn't play against their team. I just think I think it hampers their development. But
you've got to trust their professionalism, haven't you?
Yeah. Just me going on a bit of a rant. So, Daisy, are you confident, same as Andrew, or bit different.
Even more confident now. I've just found out that she can't play. I've just clocked in my head. No, I'm definitely confident. I think when we was talking about Leicester game last week, we were like, we want to be confident, but we're not quite sure if we're going on a run here or this is just a one-off. But now we've had 2 really good performances. I definitely am more confident that we're gonna be fine in that one. And he seems to be picking the strongest lineup, and like he says, he's just gonna go for it now. No, he's not gonna take the foot off the pedal or anything like that. So I think with our strongest lineup again, and hopefully everybody back. I hope we get Kyra back as well because I'd like her to get some minutes. But with that full squad, like he's mentioned that he thinks we're going to have, I see this being a comfortable victory. Well, I hope anyway. This will be one of those things that I curse it or something, but hopefully a nice victory away.
No, I think you'll be all right. Farah, do you think Miedema will feature a bit, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is probably the game where we will see Miedema get some more minutes. Hopefully, Kyra coming back into the squad. Hopefully, Lotta can get a run out as well. They seem like they're in contention. So, yeah, I think it's a game we have to be winning, no question. I think it's gonna be a good performance, but it'll give the team a very good opportunity to have a bit of a change around and get the girls who haven't played, get them some minutes. So, yeah, I think Miedema will see some more minutes from her.
Yeah, I'd like to see her put a good performance in the. I think I feel really frustrated for her, to be honest. She's had that injury, hasn't she? So she probably just wants to start playing football again. Dan, what do you think about the game?
I'm confident again, like everybody else. I think I'd like to see maybe Leah and Cordina play at the back. I think Lotta's proved herself this season. I think even if she just comes on for the last 20 minutes or so, I think that's a pairing I'd like to see together at the back. Definitely a game where we could try that out. And we're saying a few other minutes for a couple of players that haven't played as much recently. Maybe a bit more for. Again, last week I thought Caitlin played really well in this sort of new position. Might be so worth sort of persisting with her in that again, see how that sort of goes for the for this match. But yeah, I don't expect wholesale change. I think it'll be a very similar side to the one that started against Leicester. But so just maybe for me, I'd like to see Cordina just so for George's new song.
I don't create songs. I don't sing. She does like paella though, apparently. Chantel, do you think could you see a couple, maybe Kyra playing? Because I think she's back in training, isn't she?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, not a lot was given about Kyra, so it'd be nice to see her back and get a couple of minutes in this game and the last couple of games before the season finishes. Same with Laura. I think she's slowly coming back with minutes and obviously just slowly increasing it, and would be nice to see as well because she does have little bursts, and like we saw in the Leicester game, it was just nice to see her back at the Emirates playing.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, she completely slipped out of my mind. But it's really good to have her back. I will say that was probably one of the loudest atmospheres I've heard when she came on. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I've never heard, even at a men's game, I've never heard that amount of noise just for someone who's come back from an injury. But yeah, we'll go around and get predictions. So I'll grab your score and your first goal scorer. So I'm going to start with Daisy.
Oh, had to be, didn't it? I will say, I think I'm really, really hoping for a clean sheet again. That is the main thing because I love that we're finally being able to not concede any goals. So I'm going to say I expect a very similar game as the Leicester game. I'm going to go with 3-0, and I believe that Mido will get the first goal because she seems to be doing that often. So I'll go safe and say Mido. And I do think the Emily Fox goal will come in the City game. Somebody said that in the chat, so I'm going to agree with you there and say maybe not this game, hopefully not, because I'm not going to be there. But yeah, City, hopefully.
Oh, could you imagine that? An Emily Fox winner against City, but brings us level with Chelsea City going into the last season. Just painting
That
that.
would be great.
It'd be great. I don't think it'd be good for our livers, though. Brighton.
Maybe not you, George.
It's just you, George. That's just
Yeah.
you.
Not just me. Farah, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go 4-0, and I'm going to go with a Stina Blackstenius opener.
I like that because no one very rarely goes for Stina. I appreciate that. Chantel?
I am. Oh, it's quite tough now when you think about like who could be the starting lineup. So I think I'm going to go 3-0, and I will say I'm going to go Ford and just be a bit different and hope that obviously coming back from having a bit of a break, she's making up more passes in and she's taking more chances and she's doing good. So I'm going to say her.
Yeah, I like these different ones. Andrew?
Yeah, I'm going keeping up with the nils. So 2-0. No one has said it. Daisy tempted it, but I'm going with Emily Fox. Cutting in from the right, top left-hand corner.
Not been.
Yeah.
Dan?
I think everyone said every score, so I'm going to have to go 5-0 with a Kim Little penalty.
Well, I'm going to go for...
You've got to go 6, mate. That's it. That's all you
1-0
got.
or 6, George.
I'm going to go for 6-1. 6-1, and I'm going to go Vivian Miedema.
Oh, that's doable.
That's wishful thinking. That I like that.
But if that's right though, Daisy, you'd be well gutted, wouldn't you? As soon as that, or like if it's like 6-0 and then in the last second you'd be like, no, don't score.
Yeah.
Emerson in the chat he went for 3-0 with Russo because nobody mentioned Russo for a first goal score.
Yeah, she gets mentioned every week.
Yeah,
She does.
yeah. We don't talk about people on rival podcasts anyway, so.
On that note,
Sorry, Anne.
That was the timing just as I was taking a sip.
I know we have to tread a bit carefully with this. Farah, obviously I'm going to start with you, and obviously I know you can't say as much, but obviously there was a lot of talk with the tickets with the Everton game. What's your view on that as an Arsenal fan?
Look, I think there's so many different talking points to what's happened. Look, firstly, I think handled terribly, bad timing. Everton haven't handled themselves well at all. Tuesday morning, my phone absolutely blew up and I saw all these cancellations. And yeah, I don't think anyone knew what was going on. So I think the way it was handled was terrible. I do see the argument. Of course, I see the argument. I think the fan base sees the argument. I don't think anyone's arguing with that. But everyone, the people who bought from the home ticketing site, went on past experience of what happened last season. And if you've ever been to Walton Park, it's basically a park. It's one entrance. It's one area. There's no segregation, and it's never been an issue. So knowing that we would have a small allocation, it would never fit the demands that we have traveling. 250 would just never be enough. So I understand why people did it. But yeah, I do get the argument. I think we're just a victim of our own success right now. And, should that game be played at Goodison Park? That's another conversation. But would Everton put that game on at Goodison Park knowing that they would have to give us a bigger allocation and they'd probably get swept under by everything? So I get it. I understand why it's at Walton Park, but someone's obviously realised quite late on what's happened, and have decided to time it in the worst way possible. I think it's a massive warning sign for next season. I think there'll be clearer talking points, and I think clearer areas on ticketing sites on home and away fans. I don't think away fans should be buying in the home section, but I think with this certain situation, Walton Park is very different to any other stadium in the WSL. So, yeah, I think we just went on past experiences. But people have lost a lot of money, and people are, I got messages from people who are traveling in from Europe, and they've lost flights, they've lost accommodation. It's terribly handled, and I still don't actually know the reasons of what happened, what tipped it off, and why it was so late in the day. They had a long time to check those tickets because Everton's tickets went on sale a lot earlier than our away tickets went on sale. So it's a talking point, but I think the reality of it is if these clubs aren't playing in the big stadiums next year, Arsenal fans you won't be able to go to every single game. It just won't be possible. Because 250 tickets is the most they've given to, I think, any WSL club this year. So the reality of it is people will miss out next year unless they're playing in the bigger stadiums. You look at Chelsea, right? 6,000 allocation. We sold it out with more fans around different areas of the stadium. Chelsea were more than happy to take the revenue on that. But I don't think Everton would do that because it's their fans. It's just probably not enough of them as Chelsea. So yeah, it's a lot to talk about. I do get the point, but I just think badly handled.
Yeah, I do have a slight that you might be able to answer. With the City game, do you think it with the Man City game? Do you think it lands at a very dangerous time that if you've bought tickets that are not in an away allocation, it's running a risk?
I can't really answer that. I wouldn't publicize that too much. But yeah, look, I would like to think it's a bigger stadium. I think it'd be very hard for them to determine who bought what ticket. Their allocation is a bigger stadium, so I don't think it will. I would like to think not. I think we just sort of see what happens, but yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I do get the. I'll move on to you, Daisy. I do get the frustration with people, like with buying tickets in, like for the Everton game. But would you say it's a bit of a risk when you do that, like generally?
Yeah, I would say so, except I agree with what Farah said. And when I went to look into obviously going, I had spoken to a friend who had been last season and had bought from the Everton website. And that's when the problem arises, is if this has happened previously and you're going off someone else, what someone else has done and been able to do. I realise the growth has been a lot this year, but I was going off that and I trusted that. So I think that's the problem. I agree with the fact that the communication has been awful. We have been on the phone. We have been, the email address was shut off completely. I think the handling of it is just really poor on their behalf. And the way that they've spoken to I've seen some of the messages that people have received, and the way that the club has spoken to certain people and claimed stuff about me personally, that they know that I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm like, how do you know that, in terms of like genuinely looking me up? I'm like, that is very, very, very strange, and the timing of it as well. A lot of similar thoughts to what Farah said, so I won't go over that again. I just think the handling from the club has been poor, the timing was poor, and everybody who's travelled as well, like to hear about people buying flights and stuff, like that is just awful. And I was upset about my £5 parking that I'm not going to get back, and there's people who flew from Europe, so it's just really bad overall.
So obviously, because I've seen this in the groups but not really paid much attention to it, I wasn't originally going. Is it fans have lost their tickets if they're not from the area of Liverpool, or have I got that wrong?
Yeah, that was one of the reasons, wasn't it? It came up in the email that we were sent about the cancellations, that one of the ways that they'd found out who was not an Everton fan was by postcode. Now everybody knows that surely that's not that doesn't make any sense, because you can be an Everton fan and live however many miles away from Liverpool. So that doesn't really make any sense. And I know there have been Everton fans who've been to 6-7 games this season and have had it cancelled based off their postcode. So that's just poor, really.
Yeah, that's not great, is it? Andrew, have you got anything to say about this situation?
Not really. I mean, yeah, that was interesting. I think Farah put it really well. It's just, I think if they'd have done this right from the get-go and said, listen, this is how we're going to do it, fine. To at this late stage and costing people like such a lot of money. My question was similar to the, kind of that about how they'd found out. So like these people coming from Europe, it's like, well, how they? I mean, clearly they're not local to to Liverpool, but it's just really poor, isn't it? And it could have been done a lot better. But yeah, I thought Farah put it really well.
Just to end it on there, hopefully that the guys that have obviously still got to travel over, you can make a weekend or of and watch the game somewhere. So I do feel sorry for those guys that have lost quite a bit of money. Do we have any comments, Dan?
No, we're up to 212 people that are watching the show live. So thank you to everybody that has logged in. Just a few score predictions, a couple more. 4-0 with Vicky getting the first goal. But please obviously say like and subscribe to the In the North Bank page as well. But nothing else, George, for the moment.
Cool. Well, we're going to just ask a couple of questions, Farah, if that's all right, just with the supporters club.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I won't ask any. Just obviously because I know how much of a fan you are. How proud does it make you feel? All the hard work that you, Zoe, and the others have done. Just with the new ticketing system, just the atmosphere, just in general.
Yeah, really proud. I thought everything would take a lot longer than it has. I thought it'd be a bit of a slow and steady sort of approach in the last 2 years. I think last year in particular, we created so much amongst ourselves, which obviously created the opportunity to join the committee. But I think what we did last year was, I was really proud of that. So to come in this year and actually, being able to work with the club and letting them know. I mean, a club only knows so much about the fan culture, and then it's up to us to almost let them know what we need, and if it's going to be a success, they have to meet us halfway, which they completely have. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. I don't think people realize how much work's gone on behind the scenes. And yeah, so many people on the committee, not on the committee, have put so much into getting things done and putting in so much hours as well into it. I don't think people on the outside realize how important a fan group or a supporters club is. Obviously the club will always kind of get the credit which they deserve to have, but this year I really wanted to showcase and bring a spotlight onto our fans, because I think they deserve it. They've made it happen. No one else has. They've really gone above and beyond. So yeah, I'm really proud.
Yeah, it's good. We just want to from the fan base, thank you for everything you've done as well. So it's definitely Tim mentioned last week, it's absolutely gone up levels since just in a small amount of time. Chantel, do you have any questions or anything?
I actually don't for once. I'm a bit speechless. Sorry.
That's fine. If you do, just tell me to buy, then you can ask. Dan, Andrew, Daisy, any questions?
For Farah?
Yeah,
I suppose it just boggles my mind. It's how do you find the time? Because you seem to be just doing so much, and I take it you're earning a wage as well at some point, and going to sleep maybe. How do you manage to fit it all in? It feels like a full-time job the way you.
It is a full-time job. I don't really know how I do it. I think look, I've got a full-time job. I'm a recruitment manager by day, so my day is pretty hectic. I may do things during work which I'm not supposed to do, which I probably shouldn't say. But look, yeah, you find the time. Sometimes things just have to get done, and we do have a very solid team, so we do kind of help each other out as much as we can. And sometimes it's tough. I'm not going to say this year hasn't come with challenges, because they have. We have the best fans, but they also drive me crazy a little bit as well. So, but no, it's you do find the time, but yeah, it's a massive team effort there. But yeah, it gets quite intense sometimes.
Are you standing for re-election?
I am. Yeah.
Excellent. Good.
Well, you know who got our votes.
Yeah.
You can be mayor as well if you want, because we need one of them as well. Prime Minister. Oh, Farah. Let's vote Farah. That's all I say.
Prime Minister, everything.
Well, deputy, because Lotta's going to be prime.
Oh, yeah,
minister.
Lotta, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. And then, Dan, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just going to read one out from Sam, who's put in there. He's put about with the players now recognising and posting about the post-match fan parties. Do you think this is another way we can bring more fans into the Arsenal match day fandom experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the amount of messages, every social network platform brings in different types of fans. Emirates brings a whole nother community than Meadow Park, and then to away games as well. But now that the players are sort of recognizing that, there's we get so many comments of why we started this in the first place. People want to come, they want to know how you meet people. Can anyone join? And yeah, it's completely open to absolutely anyone. I think people forget when we started, the red and white, we didn't know anyone. So when people see it now, they think, oh, we're ready-made friends and we've known each other for years, which is not the case. We started from nothing. But no, absolutely, I think that's going to help massively. And yeah, we've had a lot more feedback from the club and players this year, which has been great. So I think it's going to grow massively. I think it's just going to keep going, and yeah, we're going to have to maintain it, in a good way as well. So I think it's definitely going to help.
For anyone that's, I don't know if there is anybody, but if anybody that's listening or obviously watching at some point that's not in the supporters club, how would they go about joining?
So you can drop us a message on Instagram, or you can sign up for free on the Supporters Club website. We have a paid version membership, which is closed at the minute, but will be opening before the season starts. And then you have a free membership where you click on if you want to be part of the WhatsApp group, and then you get added in. But we do have to verify it before we add you in. Because the demand has been so high, we do have verification checks. We do have to set some time aside, every few weeks just to kind of check everyone's ages and details before we allow them in, because there's so many requests. But yeah, any social platform, or jump on the website, or come and speak to us at a game, if you know who we are, and we can obviously let you know how it all works.
Yeah,
Great. George, could you move your camera, because we've got a bit of a picture of your shoulder and your ear. Just there we go. We want the money shot.
Thanks, Dan. Is there any other comments?
No, nothing else at the moment. I think we just go with she'll move on, if that's all right.
Thank you for that, Farah, though. That was really insightful, so thank you. I'm going to move on to the last part of the show. He's been building this up for ages. I'm going to pass to Dan. Instead of us having a cheeky little Nando's or something, we're doing a cheeky little giveaway. So over to you, Dan.
Cheeky little giveaway. George is building it up like it's going to be a 10-minute performance, but What we are giving away for courtesy of the Arsenal Way shop, which so if you go to the Emirates, you will know where that is this lovely Maria Forever scarf. Now I'm going to try and somehow on the camera try and do a little, if I got it the right way up. So yeah, we've got this Maria Forever scarf. Now to win this scarf, we would like you to answer a question. So we've been sort of debating all week about what will be the correct question, but the sensible question come from Andrew. And what we want you just to put in the comments, and this will close on Sunday afternoon after the Everton game, and we'll just pick a winner at random, is who scored the winning goal in the 2007 Champions League final for Arsenal. Obviously being the only English club to ever win the Champions League, because I don't think Chelsea. Have Chelsea won it, George? I don't think so.
No.
No.
But ask me in a few weeks.
So yeah, if you know the answer to that question, please put it in the chat, and then we will pick somebody at random, and you will win this fantastic Maria Forever scarf. That's the segment, Jules. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, that's sorry, mate. That was better than watching Ant and Dec Saturday Night Takeaway. So that is the show, guys. I want to once again thank everyone for watching. Farah, thank you for coming on. It's been amazing.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Andrew, thank you as always.
Thank you. We're going to do a GoFundMe for Daisy's car park fees as well, actually.
A grand total of £5 we've got to raise, so we really need you to all contribute to that, please.
5p a second or something. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
George, if you have one Yes Jaeger bomb next time, then that'll pay for it.
I can't see to drive, so it don't really affect me, does it? So, but I'm sure we can pull together as a podcast just so you can pay for your parking, or either that, or I'll just bring my disabled badge. Chantel, thank you always for coming on.
Always a pleasure, like usual.
Thank you. And Daisy, thank you for coming on, being great as always, and we help you with your part. There you go.
Yeah, perfect evening.
So yeah, thank you everyone. We'll be back next Friday, hopefully after another Arsenal win. So come on, you Gunners. Have a good evening.